I, 28 male, sat across from my girlfriend Vanessa, 27, at our kitchen table, trying to explain why I'd been quiet lately. My startup had just lost a major client, my best friend from college was going through chemo, and my anxiety was hitting harder than usual. I'm just processing a lot right now, I said. Work's been rough, and seeing Marcus so sick is... Oh my God, not this again. Vanessa rolled her eyes. You're always processing something. Having anxiety. It's exhausting. I thought we could talk about these things. We've been together 3 years. Yeah, and for 3 years, I've had to deal with your constant emotional dumping. Do you know how unattractive it is when you whine about your feelings? That stung. I'm not whining. I'm trying to communicate. Real men don't need to communicate their feelings every 5 minutes. My ex, Brad, never complained once. Just handled his business. Brad, the ex who cheated on her with 3 different women. That Brad. So what do you want me to do, Vanessa? She leaned back, arms crossed. Toughen up. Stop being so sensitive. Stop talking about your feelings like some therapy podcast. Be a man. And if I did that, just stop sharing. That would be amazing. Finally, some peace. I looked at her for a long moment. Really looked. Saw the disgust in her eyes when I mentioned anxiety. The eye roll of my friend's cancer. The comparison to Brad. Okay, I said. I'll keep them to myself. Thank God. Was that so hard? She went back to scrolling her phone. I went to my office and closed the door. From that moment, I gave her exactly what she asked for. Update 1 month later. The first few weeks, Vanessa was thrilled. No more heavy conversations. No more emotional dumping. I came home, asked about her day, listened to her complain about coworkers, nodded at appropriate times, then went to my office. This is so much better, she told her friend Caitlin on speaker while I cooked dinner. He finally grew up. No more crying about his little problems. I hadn't cried. I'd mentioned being stressed. But sure. Meanwhile, I started therapy. Found a great therapist who actually encouraged emotional expression. Joined a men's support group. Turns out, lots of guys deal with partners who shame them for having feelings. My wife called me weak for crying at my dad's funeral, one guy shared. Mine said real men don't get depression, another added. I wasn't alone. That helped. At home, I perfected the art of pleasant emptiness. Vanessa would vent about her day. Her boss was mean. Her sister was annoying. Traffic was horrible. I nod, make neutral sounds, offer simple solutions. Maybe talk to HR? That's rough. Traffic's been bad lately. No emotional engagement. No deep conversations. Just surface-level responses. She didn't notice at first. Too busy enjoying her improved boyfriend. Then her grandmother got sick. Vanessa came home crying. Her family was discussing end-of-life care. She was devastated. She found me in my office, working. Didn't you hear me come in? She was sobbing. I did. Sounded like you were upset. My grandma's dying. Sorry to hear that. I turned back to my computer. That's it. Sorry to hear that. I spun my chair to face her. What would you like me to say? I need support. Comfort. This is horrible. Okay. That sucks. Hope she gets better. Are you serious right now? I'm being strong. Handling things. Like you wanted. Her face went red. This is different. This is my grandma. And Marcus is my best friend. But when I tried to talk about his cancer, you said it was exhausting. That's not. You can't. I'm not trying to be cruel, Vanessa. I'm giving you what you asked for. No emotional dumping. No feelings. Just handling business. She stormed out. Slammed the bedroom door. I heard her calling Caitlin, complaining about how cold I was being. I went to my support group that night. Talked about guilt versus boundaries. The facilitator made a good point. She didn't want you to have feelings. Now she's upset you're not managing hers. Update 2, 3 months later. Vanessa's grandmother passed. I attended the funeral, stood quietly beside her, offered tissues when needed. But no emotional support beyond the practical. Everyone keeps asking if we're okay, she hissed at the reception. You're acting like a robot. I'm being respectful and composed. Strong. You're being an asshole. I'm being what you asked for. Her family noticed. Her mom pulled her aside, asked if everything was all right between us. Vanessa lied, said we were fine, just dealing with grief differently. At home, she tried to force emotional responses. Picked fights about nothing. Created drama. I stayed calm, logical, solution-focused. The dishes weren't done. She'd yell, "I'll do them now." No defense, no emotion. "You forgot to call the plumber." "I'll call tomorrow." No excuses, no feelings. She started sleeping on the couch. Said I was emotionally abusive for not engaging with her feelings. I pointed out the irony. She didn't appreciate it. Meanwhile, my life outside our relationship improved. The support group became real friends. We'd grab beers, talk about everything: work stress, family issues, relationship problems. Real, vulnerable conversations. My startup recovered. Landed 2 new clients. Marcus finished chemo, prognosis good. I cried happy tears at his remission party. Felt good to feel, just not at home. Vanessa started getting desperate. She'd create increasingly dramatic situations, hoping to crack my emotional wall. Her car broke down. I arranged a tow, called an Uber, forwarded mechanic recommendations. No panic, no comfort, just solutions. Her friend betrayed her? That's unfortunate. Maybe distance yourself. No rage on her behalf. No emotional validation. She got passed over for a promotion? There'll be other opportunities. No sympathy, no shared disappointment. Each time, she'd explode. "Why don't you care?" "I care. I'm just not being emotional about it." Like you wanted. Update 3, 5 months later. The breaking point came when Vanessa's dad had a heart attack. Mild one, full recovery expected, but scary. She called me from the hospital, hysterical. I drove there immediately, brought her coffee and a phone charger. Sat quietly while she cried. "Say something." She grabbed my hand. "Please. Your dad's getting excellent care. The survival rate for mild heart attacks is very high. I need you to feel this with me. I need my boyfriend. I am your boyfriend. I'm here. I'm being strong for you. I don't need strong. I need human. 3 months ago, you said being human was exhausting. That real men don't share feelings. I'm being the man you wanted." She broke, right there in the hospital waiting room, sobbing about how cold I'd become, how cruel, how she needed emotional connection. Her mom watched this breakdown, confused. "Honey, what's going on?" Vanessa, through tears, told her everything. How she demanded I stop sharing emotions. How I'd listened. How now she was suffering without emotional support. Her mom looked at me, then at her daughter. "You told him not to share feelings, and you're upset he listened? It's different. He's supposed to care about MY feelings, but not have any of his own." Even Vanessa heard how it sounded. But instead of apologizing, she doubled down. "He's doing this to punish me. It's manipulation." "No," I said quietly. "It's compliance. You set the terms. I follow them." Her dad, from his hospital bed, weak but aware, called me over later. "Son," he said, "I don't know what's going on, but thank you for driving her here. For being here. Of course. She gets that from her mother sometimes. Thinking men should be rocks." I had to learn to stand up for my own emotional needs. Took years. I nodded. Didn't say more. Wasn't the time. Vanessa moved in with her parents temporarily to help with recovery. I supported this decision calmly. Helped her pack. Wished her dad well. She kept texting, oscillating between anger and pleading. "You've made your point. Can we please go back to normal? This is normal now. This is what you wanted. I didn't mean it like this. You were very clear. Real men don't talk about feelings. I'm keeping them to myself. I'm falling apart, and you don't care. I care. I'm just not being emotional about it." Hashtag final update. 8 months later. Vanessa lasted another month before ending it. Showed up with her brother to collect her things, made a big speech about emotional abuse and manipulation. "You destroyed us to prove a point," she said. "I gave you exactly what you asked for. No more, no less. You're sick. You need help. I'm in therapy. Actually, I've been for months. Working through what it means to have feelings in a relationship where they're not welcome." She tried to slap me. Her brother held her back. "I hope you're happy," she snarled. "You've lost the best thing in your life." "Have I?" She expected begging. Got nothing. Left screaming about how I'd regret this. How no woman would want an emotional robot. Plot twist. Lots of women want a man who can actually process and share emotions appropriately. Started dating Sarah from my support group sister. She was at one of our gatherings, heard our stories, was appalled. My ex was the opposite, she said. Never talked about anything real. I begged him to open up. We talked for hours. About anxiety, loss, dreams, fears. Real conversation. Real connection. Been together 6 months now. When my startup hit another rough patch, I came home and told her I was stressed. She made tea, listened, offered both emotional support and practical suggestions. When her mom got diagnosed with diabetes, we cried together, then researched treatment options together. Balance. What concept? Heard through mutual friends that Vanessa's dating Brad again. The ex who never complained. The cheater who handled his business. Apparently, he still doesn't share feelings. Also still doesn't share his location on Friday nights. Or his phone password. Or why he has Tinder notifications. But hey, at least he's not exhausting her with emotional communication. Her friend Caitlin reached out last month. Said Vanessa was miserable, but refused to admit why. Brad's cheating again, shocking. But when she tries to talk about how it makes her feel, he shuts down. Says she's being dramatic. Sound familiar? She keeps saying she wishes you two had worked out, Caitlin said. We could have. All she had to do was let me be human. She knows that now. No, she doesn't. She knows she lost something, but not why. She'll blame me forever rather than examine her own toxic ideas about masculinity. And I was right. Vanessa started a blog about surviving emotional manipulation. Posts vague quotes about narcissists and emotional abusers. Has a whole following of women who've been victimized by cold men. My support group finds it hilarious. One guy printed out her post about men who weaponize silence and brought it to a meeting. Didn't she literally tell you to shut up about your feelings? He asked, repeatedly. And now she's mad you did? Apparently. We laughed. Not at her pain. That's real, even if self-inflicted. But at the absurdity of demanding someone change, then being angry when they do. Sarah asked me once if I regret how things ended with Vanessa. I regret that she couldn't see me as a whole person, I said. But I don't regret showing her the consequences of her demands. By becoming what she asked for, by respecting myself enough to leave a relationship where my humanity was a burden. That's the thing Vanessa still doesn't get. I didn't become a robot to punish her. I protected my emotional self by sharing it only with people who valued it. She got exactly what she asked for, a man who didn't burden her with feelings. Turns out, that's a pretty empty relationship. But hey, at least it wasn't exhausting. Last I heard, she's in therapy now, working on communication issues and emotional availability. Her therapist probably has a field day with the cognitive dissonance. Me? I'm good. Great, actually. Turns out when you're with someone who sees your emotions as a strength rather than a weakness, you can be both tough and tender, strong and sensitive. A real man who talks about feelings. Who knew that was even possible? Vanessa, apparently, still doesn't.